everybody. It's Kevin Perkins from Crown Pickleball. I'm joined by my radical co-host, the boss man himself, Mr. Gregory Storm. Today, we're going to have a nice conversation with a very interesting and cool company, Splish Naturals, with Matt Walsh. Matt, how's it going, bud?
Hey, nice to see you, Kevin. Thanks for having me on. Gregory, as always, it's always a great time when I hang out with Gregory, you know. So
Yeah, we get
I
down.
expect this to be this should be an entertaining hour. Or however
Indeed.
long we're gonna go.
Yeah, yeah.
30 seconds. Matt's out.
All right, peace out, everyone. So, Matt, thanks for coming in. Obviously, you're pretty involved with the sport of pickleball. Maybe before we start talking about Splish a little bit, maybe you can talk about your kind of connection with pickleball and how you got into this whole thing and kind of lead us into that.
Yeah, I mean, dating way back before Splish was, on the scene, I used to manage tennis centers. And my first introduction to pickleball was when all the local owners wanted to come by and say, hey, would you convert one of your tennis courts to a pickleball court? And at that time, I was a USTA certified center. So we had sanctioned events there. And of course, the answer at that time was a big fat no. And of course, part of it was also led to, I said, well, let me consider it. Would you consider paying, $5 an hour to use the court? And of course, whoa, no, I can go use the local park court for free. But when I really got serious about pickleball was I have a cousin, she's a senior women's pro, and she, called me up one day and said, hey, you should consider sponsoring the APP event that's taking place in Chicago over Labor Day weekend. And this was during COVID. And I thought, you know what, why not? By that now COVID's on, pickleball was a great distraction because, we're also focused on hunkering down, and which I'm not sure anybody really wanted to do. So we ended up sponsoring our first event. I think it might have been August or Labor Day weekend, either 20 or 21 in Highland Park. And basically that started it for us.
And that was the APP, Matt?
That was the APP, correct.
Ken Herman, right? Yeah, Ken
Yeah,
Herman.
it was Ken. And so that was our first event. It then started to grow into, well, then our next event became the US Open. The ladies, Chris and Terry, had reached out to me, and and they knew my cousin Liz, and they said, hey, can you tell us more? And they ended up buying products, and it turns out Terry's mom has been using our products for quite some time. And so we ended up at the US Open, and it's grown from there. We now are focused. Yes, we are doing the US Open again this year, and it's a fun, great event. I mean, it's one of the few sports that when an athlete loses, they're not, throwing their paddle up into the stands. They're actually,
Yeah, we had a blast. We had a blast last year, didn't
people
we?
are actually having fun, and it was a refreshing change for this, to see people behave that way in a sport. So when somebody asked me one time, what do you think of pickleball? What do you compare to? And I think they're waiting for me to say table tennis, and I said bowling leagues. So, to me, it's a social sport, yeah,
Totally.
Of course you got your 1% who are out there doing the pro circuit and on a pro team, but the rest of them are people probably like myself playing my backyard. Yeah, so it's been a fun sport. It's been fun to watch it grow. It's fun to watch the involvement. It's always fun to watch somebody's face twist up when they go, but pickleball?
So being at the US Open last year, we spent a lot of time together there last year in your booth and stuff like that. So I really appreciate that, and I'm looking forward to it again this year. So a lot of people are coming to your booth for the healing bombs and the salves, and there's a lot of injured people coming in from. Well, there's over 1,000 people at this US Open event every year. It's the biggest in the world, right? So people come from all over the world, and you're the biggest person there providing some topical pain relief to a lot of these players. So, and that's just not just the amateurs, but the pros and all kinds of stuff like that, right? So you've got some great things going on that help, great products that do help these athletes during these tournaments and things like that. So yeah, you're definitely needed in this sport, no doubt. Kevin just had a knee surgery there, so I mean that would be great too. But
We got
yeah,
something for
just
you
tell us,
too.
yeah, just tell us about like the number one and two products that you are applying to these pickleball players and stuff like that to help them heal.
So I'll give you three products, because we have a line of about 13, 14 products, but, you talk about knee replacements. So I've never seen more knees that have been replaced than at pickleball tournaments. And I'm
Yeah.
not saying it's because of the sport. It's just, we're out there putting product on, and we're a big fan of apply it before you try it. We're an experiential product. And I remember the first Open when we'd apply a Splish Natural Sport Formula number 3 sport balm on people's knee, and then we'd say, okay, go. And they'd look at you cockeyed like, well, you want me to just walk away? Yeah, if it's because it has to work.
This
If
is
you
the
come
three,
back, yeah,
right? That comes in
that's
your little
Formula number
can,
3
right?
right there. So it's great for joint pain, whether it's the elbow, the shoulder, the knees, ankles. It's really a great product, and it gives people a lot of relief. Probably 95% of the sales that we make at an event are people that have stepped away, made sure it worked, and came back. And I was asked one time, well, what about the other 5%? I said, well, they weren't in pain. Their pain went away and they forgot about it. Let's face it, we don't think about pain until you're in pain. The second product that we really like is called Formula number 6. Again, it's part of our sport line, and it's a spray. Very, very
Yeah.
similar to what Gregory just showed us with the Formula number 3 balm, but it covers a broader area with less product. So we're very sensitive to, how much product people use. It's also very high in camphor, menthol, rosemary, and eucalyptus. And why am I pointing that out is because not only does it have the CBD in it and CBG, but it has those essential oils. And why those are so critical is they're the top oils that help increase blood circulation.
And people don't get high off this, right?
There's no THC in any
Yeah.
of the products. You can bathe in the products. You're never going to test positive. We work with law enforcement. We work with professional athletes that are drug tested. We work with first responders, veterans.
So
a
just
whole
just for
host
the
of-
for sake of the audience and those who may not even know those acronyms, right? So
Yeah.
CBD is essentially the part that gives you the numbing benefit without the THC, the stone quote unquote benefit, right? What would be what was CBG? What would that stand for? What does that represent?
So CBD is what they call a cannabidiol, okay? And there are about 110, 115 cannabinoids within the hemp plant. Keep in mind, CBD is being extracted from the hemp plant, not the marijuana plant. To make CBD legal, it cannot contain more than 0.3% THC. Now, if you're a professional athlete, or if you're work for the federal government, or you're a first responder where you're drug tested and you're using that, 0.3 doesn't sound like a whole lot, right? And it really isn't. It's not enough to have you take a trip and leave the show. However, it is enough that if you use it on a regular basis, it will show up in a drug test.
Right, because it's cumulative,
Nobody's going
right?
to jeopardize their job,
Yeah.
their occupation, because they were applying something that may or may not send them, so our products contain no THC whatsoever.
So everybody in pickleball
Yeah.
doesn't give a shit anyways because they're all old codgers and they don't care, right? So they're party animals. So you've hit the market here with the pickleballers, I'll tell you, Matt.
Well, we've got ingredients in our products because we get the same question. Oh, you don't have THC in your products. How can it work? I can assure you our products will probably have the highest efficacy of any CBD product in the marketplace. And CBD is an interesting, plant-derived substance. So if CBD is the most prominent cannabinoid in the plant, then it trickles down. You've got CBG, you got CBN, CBC. And of course, if CBD is here, maybe CBG is here, and then they trickle down quite a bit. We use a product called isolate in ours, and we like it because one, we can measure it out very accurately. It's very stable to use. People will say, well, you have CBD and you have CBG and you have the acids, corresponding acids. Why don't you just use the broad spectrum? And the truth is, because we can amp up the amount of CBG in ours versus a broad spectrum. Now, broad spectrum is everything that's in the whole plant extract minus the THC. Okay.
So you don't get high.
You don't
You
get
don't
high.
get
No,
Good.
no, but we choose to take the other route because we can amp up the different cannabinoids that we find will yield derive the greatest benefit. The other product we have that I want to mention is and it has nothing to do with CBD, is called our rejuvenation mat. And our rejuvenation mat is really it's become one of the hottest items that we have, which is kind of funny because it's a $1,500 PEMF far infrared heated mat with negative ion generation and TENS patches, right? Somebody will say, oh, 1,500, what's the matter with your mat? And I'll go, what do you mean what's the matter with that mat? Oh, it's so cheap. Wait a minute, you were just trying to negotiate money off a $50 bomb, and you're going to buy a mat. But these
But
mats
you also
pretty
have
great.
like, do you also, when you say the whole plant, that's like, is it like the terpenes and stuff, all the essential oils and the kind of
We
aromatics and
we
things that kind of
reinfuse
bring
all
out
our
the whole?
yep. Yep. So we reinfuse everything. So if you take CBD isolate, it's 99% pure CBD. Okay. It looks like flour you have in your kitchen, right?
Mhm.
Or some other illegal substance we don't want to talk about. But we reinfuse strategically essential oils, which brings back in terpenes, flavonoids. We do reintroduce our own proprietary terpene blend. For those that don't know what terpenes do two things for all plants. One, it makes a rose smell like a rose, a lilac smell like a lilac, a tulip smell like a tulip. But more importantly to the plant, terpenes protect plants from everything that wants to try to kill the plant, whether it's drought, fungus,
Bugs.
insects,
Yeah.
frost, whatever. And the health benefits of terpenes on the human body, there's actually more research supporting the use of terpenes on the human body versus CBD. And we source our terpenes from the original plant source. So ours does not come from the cannabis plant, the hemp plant. It comes from mango, thyme, basil, citrus, pine, whatever. And they're all food grade. So everything we do, everything in our products is 100% natural. There's nothing in there. It's artificial. People go, oh yeah, your product smells so good. And that's a fortunate result. We don't design a product to make it smell good. They just naturally do because the ingredients, especially when combined, whereas so many of the CBD companies will add essential oils, but they want to do it. Why? Trying to hide maybe the smell of hemp from a broad spectrum or full spectrum CBD. Or they think they understand how essential oils work. We go way beyond that. We do take our therapeutic grade essential oils, we study them, we research them, and then we combine them if it's to to reduce bruising or pain or inflammation or help you sleep at night. We have two relaxation products. They're both topical. Again, our terpene blend shifts when we go into those to incorporate more of a sedating terpene. But again, Success Magazine did an article on us not too long ago, and they sought us out because they were doing a whole thing on the opioid crisis and how people are just getting, so fast. Let's pop pills. Let's get addicted. Let's face it, we can all go to Costco right now and go buy as many ibuprofens as we want. And who's to prevent us from taking them all down, except that the next big epidemic is going to be ibuprofen abuse because it destroys livers, it destroys kidneys, it destroys your stomach lining. People rely on it so quickly. So, the whole premise of this article in Success Magazine was that, we're trying to get people to step away from the habit of popping pills, whether it's a narcotic or just a household pill like, ibuprofen. And so taking people off the pills and providing an all natural holistic healing to a product that works. Obviously, if you don't, game over if your products don't work. So, it's always to hear, get people provide testimonials. And truthfully, we pride ourselves on the fact that, our products are highly effective. I wouldn't apply it on your knees, Kevin, and say, go home and come back and see me tomorrow if I didn't believe 100% that your knee was going to feel better and you'd be back.
Yeah, these are products that definitely have worked. Oh, sorry, Kevin. But
I was just gonna say, like, my experience is more like been on the gummy side where I've used like stuff from Kiva where they have different What was that?
What do you mean? You said gummies.
Yeah.
Well, you're stoned.
No, these are CBD. These are gummies that apparently have a different. Yeah, whoa, look at you. So these are gummies that are, like you said, they have, blends of THC, CBD, CBN, etc. I'm not doing a
Yeah,
commercial for Kiva here at all,
yeah,
but
yeah.
when my knee was in the most pain, like I couldn't go to sleep, so I would do the nighttime sativa type, stuff, and it was, I could get the best sleep I've ever had, just getting relaxed. And so I totally understand where you're coming from the sense of like there's more to it than just the hey, like whatever perception is out there with, you're a stoner if you take this stuff. It's more to it than that. I
Yeah.
can tell you that. And plus too, the regulation and the amount of like, and you could probably speak to this, the amount of control that goes into every level of substance and the way it's formulated and stuff. My daughter's a cosmetic chemist, and she talks to me about formulations and stuff all the time,
Yeah.
and the precision that's needed for some of that stuff. It's just mind blowing. So anyway, I'm sure that that's where your product's at.
Yeah, I mean, we focus solely on topical products. One, there's a lot of, there's no shortage of orally ingested product, whether it's a gummy or a tincture. But one of the things that I've learned, period, even outside of the world of CBD, is that the minute you consume something, I don't know, pickleball players are notorious for gobbling up magnesium, right? Because it helps reduce cramping. But magnesium is also what? A natural laxative. Take too much and bam, you're not on the court, you're in the John. Okay. And I can't tell how many people I've run into that didn't really know that about magnesium. So for example, we have a magnesium spray that has, certainly it's got this one does have a water soluble nano encapsulated broad spectrum CBD in it, but we are fans of applying solutions topically to where it bothers you. If you take magnesium, you take 1,000 milligrams of magnesium, you're getting maybe 25, 30% efficacy. Why? Because it's combating against the digestive tract. And then once that 25% gets past the digestive tract, what's happening? It's sharing it with everywhere. If your knee is bothering you, we need to get to the pain right away. So by applying a topical product directly to where it's bothering you, then you're going to
That
notice
makes
it
sense.
where
So your
on top
game, your
of
game,
tummy,
your
you're not
game
gonna.
day product is a pre and a post, right? The game day product.
So our game day, it's our only water soluble product. We
Okay.
recommend people apply it sprayed on. It's loaded with magnesium, it's loaded with electrolytes, it's loaded with vitamin C. We recommend, it's like mother used to say, a pound of prevention, okay? Or an ounce of prevention prevents a pound of pain. I've personally seen, we were at nationals, the last nationals when I was at Indian Wells in Palm Desert. I had a pro come up and he could barely make it to our tent. His calves were literally contracting so bad.
That was Tyson McGuffin, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Tyson,
no,
right?
it wasn't Tyson. We were next to his tent at that time, his tent, Selkirk. But
Tell us
anyway,
your story about Tyson McGuffin. I like
we
that one.
applied game day to the guy's legs, and I'd say within 3 minutes, the quivering stopped. He popped up. He was back out on the court. We were at the tournament down in Myrtle Beach the weekend before. God, what was the big hurricane that came through and sadly destroyed Fort Myers in that area? But anyway, it was a hot day. People were coming in. Our products were being used in the medical tent, and I felt like this was a Dr. Seuss, novel where we had cramped people coming in, laying down, getting sprayed down because we have a big sprayer, and then leaving, coming in with cramps, leaving without cramps. And, proof is always in the pudding. Proof is, did it work? And of course,
So let me,
honestly
yeah,
say, yeah, our products work, including with this one with reducing muscle cramping.
yeah. Let me get into the portion of where so I've been on the PPA circuit in the early stages. Actually, I just got a friend request from Connor Pardo the other day. It was kind of funny, and I thought we weren't friends anymore, but I must now I'm back in friendship with Connor Pardo from the PPA. I mean, maybe it's the Vulcan ball, or I mean the Crown ball, or whatever it is, but so but anyways, so there used to be a big they had a big CBD brand, Medicaleaf, that was the name of them. And Johnny was Johnny Pickleball. As you know, he's on our team now, the Splish team as well. So, but we were both on that Medicaleaf team in the beginning with PPA in the beginning there. But I know they're spending like almost probably $30,000 per event or per year, I guess it was, in the beginning stages to be one of the main CBD sponsors. Now, is that something that you'll have to do to work with future bigger pickleball tournament situations like the APP or the US Open is probably a hefty cost? Is that something that you want to continue to do if it's going to be costly, or what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, so we've done all the big stuff. Okay. We've done the US Open, we've done Atlantic City, we've done nationals as far as the pickleball sport. Outside of pickleball, we've done the World Rugby Showcase, we've done the Academy Awards, we've done the Grammy Awards, we've done
Oh, nice.
we partnered with Lifetime Fitness last summer, and we're one of the top sponsors for their Leadville Race Series, which is, their ultra race series. So as soon as you get that knee going, Kevin, you better get in shape because I signed you up for the Leadville 100.
Kevin
Let's
works at
go.
Lifetime.
And those are all, those are all big ticket items, right? And it's good for when you build a brand, because let's face it, if you build it, they will come. Works one place in the movies, right? And you can't have a product that has the quality and efficacy of ours and hide it under a rock. But as we all kind of keep our eyes open on what's going on the home front with inflation, with, what's global uncertainty, and I'm talking to a lot of others, pretty good sized sponsors, companies that are same size as us or a heck of a lot bigger, that are now beginning to kind of pull back a little bit because,
Yeah.
the cost of sponsoring something hasn't gone up gradually, it's gone up logarithmically.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, there was a time and a place, being part of the US Open is fun and we hope to continue that.
Yeah.
But, as far as now, when we start really dialing on ROI, is it an absolute necessity? No, we're kind of steering away from a lot of the big high dollar sponsorships because
Interesting.
what's going to happen at the end of this year? I mean, are people going to continue to compete? Are they going to show up? Do they have the money? We launched a new product line called Heal Your Hero back in September, and we coincided with a means to raise capital through a crowdfunding campaign. And generally crowdfundings are successful because it's a small amount of money. People are willing to take a risk. Ours was a $200 investment, and it's still going. With $200 investment, you get $800 worth of value. You get product. We recognize the hero of your choice and send them product on your behalf. But people that generally do crowdfunding, what do? They put it on their credit card. Well, credit card debt has hit historical highs. $1.2 trillion was the number I heard just the other day. And I think so people don't have that leeway, because that $200, they might say, okay, yeah, I think this is great and I'm going to get this product. No, $200 is going to put gas in my car. It's going to keep the lights on in my house. It might put food on the table for my kids, and I
well, plus just from a business model too, like I've been having so many conversations with people lately who want, at least I can't speak for Greg, but want our product in on retail and want us to spend a whole bunch of time and money and waste it on shelf space that I have no connection with the customer if and when they do buy it. And I can just go direct. Yeah, maybe I have to pay some money for shipping or whatever, but the benefit is I now have this super close relationship that the internet essentially has brought me to this close to my customer now, right? I don't have all these layers in between me. And so I think that has a lot to do with kind of like how businesses like yours, ours, whatever, are starting to, I don't know, maybe you could speak to that too. Like, I just feel like the amount of information and the intel that we have now about our own customers just makes our products even better.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree, and of course, the whole online experience has evolved. When I first started getting into business, when I owned my first spa, was like, God, maybe we should name it AAA Spa, so I'm the first company in the Yellow Pages,
Ah,
right?
yeah.
Now I say Yellow Pages to my kids and they look at me cockeyed.
Yeah, what's
You
that,
know, and of
Dad?
course, but now you have things like SEO and all kinds of different things. And unlike your company versus ours, you know, we have the ongoing challenge where Facebook doesn't want to promote CBD because it's part of cannabis, and you know, and the FDA hasn't fully you know, rescheduled it. You know, I mean, CBD has the same Schedule 1 substance that heroin has. And I think a blind man would argue that, well, one has nothing to do with the other. Okay.
Yeah.
But we all know, you know, how politics work, how lobbyists work, how big pharma works, how, you know, and trying to, you know, make things easier for this industry, which it should be easier. We should not, you know, we should be able to heal as many people as we want naturally without one creating this false information that, oh yeah, this is from the marijuana plant. Well, number one, no, it is not. And number two, it's a topical product that's 100% plant-based that is going to help you. And no, you're not going to take a trip. But yeah, I think, you know, being online is important. That brings its own challenges because I'm sure you, like us and everybody else, I get 8 million emails a day, people promising, guaranteeing me that I'll be number one
Yeah.
search, you know, and of course,
You know what's so
crazy.
interesting about that? What you just said about the whole Facebook and the regulation stuff. So just over the last few days, I've been like, I have a bunch of friends who are doing like the Ozempic weight loss stuff or whatever. And there was this thing that was on like Row or Hims or something, and it was like, huh, that sounds interesting. It's a different model than Ozempic or whatever the other ones are. So I looked into it, and it turns out you have to take like 4 medications, one of them which is Wellbutrin, right? So
Whoa.
while that's supposed to like fix your brain if you're depressed, right? And if you come off of it too fast, you can go into psychedelic psychosis and stuff like that. The natural side effect of that is that you lose weight. And I was like, how the hell is this even possibly prescribed online? And so I look at the fine print and it says not regulated by FDA. And I'm like, how is that even possible? You don't even have you're like it's section 1, whatever, substance controlled number 1, but Wellbutrin and all that other psycho business is not like
That's
for weight loss.
that's heavy. That's heavy.
I mean,
You're funny.
there's double standards, there's
Crazy.
oxymorons out there. It's, you know, so, you know, unlike a lot of industries, you know, yeah, it would have been much easier if I started a t-shirt business. I mean, we also, as I started saying, we sell these mats, and the mats are not inexpensive. You know, but we wanted to try to allow people to do payment plans like through Klarna or any of those companies that offer to, and we've been approached by all of them. And then they go, oh, but you're in the CBD business. We're
Oh
not
yeah.
gonna touch that. I said, I'm not doing payment plans for my CBD line. I'm doing it for this line, you know, because we sell, you know, a big, huge advocate and proponent of our mats is Johnny Pickleball. He travels with his, you know, and he'll even tell you that he was playing men's doubles because he didn't want to be, you know, run around the court so much. But now he's been using our mats. It's increased the energy of him. Now
Yeah,
he's
but
competing
Johnny's getting
in
old, man.
singles,
He's
you
getting
know,
old now.
and
He's getting
he
older.
loves the mat. I mean, we're at the point now where, you know, we've got a whole line of CBD. We've got a whole other line that isn't CBD. So just to kind of, you know, figure out where we're going to go as far as legalities and being able to process credit cards, we're probably going to create a whole new website, won't have any CBD product on it, so that if somebody wants to buy a mat, we can set them up with Klarna and they can make 4 payments, 5, whatever, however it works, you know. But going back to the mat, you know, when we were at the Open, people are saying, what's the matter with your mat? And I go, what do you mean, what's the matter with my mat? You haven't even been on it yet. They said, no, it's so cheap, you know, and our competitors, and at these events, we sell our mats for $1,300, right? Which, okay, yeah, it's still an investment, right? But our competitors are selling their same mats for 3,500, 4,500, 5,500, you know, and so, you know, and I'm not going to rattle off brands, but we've done an exhaustive comparative analysis between our mat and the top 6 competitors in the field, and all the supporting documentation that goes with the efficacy of each component of the mat. And our mats are top number 1, period. End of conversation. You know, still an investment, you know. However, they last forever. My mat I've been traveling with now for almost 2 years. It's fallen off of planes. It's been stepped on, laid on, sweated on, spilled on. You know, they just work. And, you know, and businesses like physical therapy groups, they love the mats. Chiropractors love the mats. You know, spas are using the mats now to generate revenue because they don't have the staff to accommodate a service.
So
And
Matt, tell everybody a little bit more specifically about your mats. So those are like rejuvenation mats. So you have some technology and some other cool stuff that's going on inside. Be a little more specific about what those are.
so as a physical description, just so people can kind of get their arms around it, think about what a yoga mat looks like, except add about 45 pounds to it. This mat is filled with semi-precious gemstones. There's 8 semi-precious gemstones in there that when they heat up, they emit negative ions. Negative ions is one of the functions of the mat. If we were standing at well, let's put it this way. We're all in our homes, our office, whatever. We're getting hit with 0 negative ions. If we go we're hanging out at the base of Yosemite Falls, we're getting hit with about 350,000 negative ions per square centimeter. Why is that important? Well, negative ions, it's a natural emitting element from the earth. It helps purify the blood. It bolsters the immune system. It creates a good vibe. It amplifies the serotonin in the body. So there's lots of things that it does. And like I said, you know, my favorite one is it actually puts you in a good mood. That's just one of the functions. Then there's far infrared heat. The only thing you ever feel on the mat is the warmth. You'll feel the heat. And this is far infrared heat. This is the same safe heat that's coming off the sun. The same heat that is allowing your body to produce vitamin D, which we are all woefully, you know, underserved. We all could use more vitamin D. And so with the far infrared heat, again, it's reducing inflammation. It's helping to reduce pain. It's helping the body produce vitamin D. It's penetrating. It's relaxing the body. If you think about this, a body that's relaxed heals more rapidly. So this mat helps relax the body and helps reduce the recovery time. It also has PEMF, pulse electromagnetic field. So the earth, depending on where you're at between poles, has a frequency of about 8 cycles, very low frequency. And I only point out between poles because one time I was talking to a group and turns out there's a geologist in there and I said 8%. I was very definitive. And he said, or eight cycles. He goes, it depends on where you're standing. You know, in Quito, Ecuador might be different than it is in Denver, Colorado. Anyway, but on the average, you've got a frequency, the earth gives off a frequency of about 8 cycles. A normal, healthy human body will mimic that frequency, okay? This mat has the ability to, one, maintain the Earth's frequency at 8 cycles, but we could also reduce it. Let's say you can't sleep at night. Maybe you've had a long travel day or whatever. You can reduce the frequency down to 3 cycles, okay? Which will help slow the body down at the cellular level. Everything this body does is at the cellular level. On the opposite end, we can increase the frequency of the body to 64 cycles, okay? 8 times what the Earth is.
Wow.
As you know, you think about an athlete that goes out and warms up before they compete, right? We now have athletes that bought the mat to recover, are now using it to warm up before they even get out, either on the court, on the on the turf.
For some reason, I don't have one of these, Matt.
Yeah, I can't keep them in stock.
Hey, let's talk about the Splish raw paddle that we
So this was actually fun to, you know, of course, Gregory and I are close. We have a lot of fun together and, you know, we always try to tie, for us anyway, how do we tie wellness to a paddle, right?
Absolutely.
And this one here has got really good vibration control. And if we know, probably one of the biggest causes of tennis elbow or pickleball elbow or whatever we want to call it for the sake of the show is vibration. If it travels up, right? And so with the vibration control that Gregory's, you know, been able to establish with this paddle, you know, our intention here is to reduce injury at the elbow or at the wrist.
100%. Yeah.
And so, you know, so we don't take lightly putting our brand on anything, but, you know, it started with you know, this relationship, friendship, trust.
Yeah.
And how can we tie what we do with what Gregory does with his paddle. And truthfully, I love his line because I think it's the most creative line. Every time I turn around, there's a new colored bumblebee out there.
It's just a good paddle too.
But
I mean,
we're proud to put our name on this paddle.
Yeah.
And to be able to back it with, the benefits of our products. And I know that if you go to Gregory's, Rain and Wind website, buy a paddle, we're throwing in a 30 mil tin of our balm, our sport balm,
nice.
Our 3% right there.
Yeah. So we call that what? Putting our money where our mouth is?
That's right. Yeah, so I mean, yeah, I'm stoked to bring that down to the US Open. And I think, we're probably going to do about, a bunch of giveaways for those paddles, just because we want them in people's hands, and we're going to get the product, in people's hands, along with, the vibration tech control on those paddles. Maybe some people out there, I've not really heard anybody say anything bad about this paddle. And these paddles actually have been going now, Matt, believe it or not, since the last time we talked. I mean, they just love the look of them, the feel of them. I go to the courts and they're grabbing them. I mean, maybe, some of these pros are kind of getting a little stuffy out there about what they play with now. But I'll tell you what, this paddle has been a good 8 out of 10. I mean, these our 3.5ers, our 3.0s, our 4.0s are super happy with this paddle right now. So, that's a great thing going on. And I think now that we've given a couple paddles to maybe who's the pro racquetball player now?
Rhonda. So Gregory and I and Johnny are working with a woman. She is the most decorated racquetball player in the world. She's won the world title numerous times, the Pan American Games numerous times.
What's her name again? Rhonda.
Huh?
What's her last name?
Rajesh. Hopefully, if she picks us up, she's not going to smack me. But when we first started talking, she was introducing me because she wanted to enter the sport of pickleball. And of course, like a lot of people, it's like, ha, is this really a sport? She's of course she's used to the racquetball court where when she hits that ball, it's traveling about 161 miles an hour.
Sure.
And
yeah.
So anyway,
so
Johnny's with the PPA and hosting camps. And so when he was in Phoenix, she lives down in Phoenix, they connected. And it was actually her very first time getting a lesson in pickleball. And truthfully, and she used our paddle, Gregory, she loved it.
Yeah, good.
And all of a sudden the mind evolution started to happen that, wow, this really is a sport. And this is not only fun, but it's competitive. And actually it's growing, where maybe the sport of racquetball is kind of waning. I mean, I laughed a little bit with her saying, yeah, we had racquetball courts where I live. Now they turned them into a gym, with a teeny little door to get in.
That's funny.
And
I come from
yeah, so
racquetball.
we're working with her, and her goal is to really take this sport by storm, Gregory. And
you know what? We'll customize a paddle for her. You know what I mean? So I mean, whatever she wants, we'll do for her if she wants to really take it serious.
Yeah, well, she is. She had such a, Johnny, we all know Johnny. Johnny's probably, he's got no ego. He's a good guy. He's a rock solid. He spent good amount of time with Rhonda, explaining the sport, the rules, how, some shot tips and things like that, to the point where.
And Johnny and I go back since day one in Naples. We're both OGs. So, I mean, I wish I could have followed his footsteps and, kind of got on board, but it's tough for me to travel now with this big pickleball brand.
Drop ship.
Yeah, drop ship, show up. But
I'm looking forward, it'll be fun to have the paddle, and that's why, when we were talking about, like, what should we talk about today? I mean, let's face it, so much of the sport is promoting, paddles, and it's and not disrespectful to any paddle company, but man, they just keep coming alive, and what I love about, there's a lot of things why I love about Rain and Wind, the fact that they're philanthropic, that they protect bee farmers. Bee farmers are near and dear to my heart because my brother who lives in Sweden is a bee farmer. He's got 14 hives and it consumes all his life, and then except for in the winter months where the sun doesn't shine and he just hunkers down. But and the fact that, I think he puts personal touch into these paddles. and that when we spoke, and how I wanted to connect our brand to a paddle, he knew exactly what he needed to do in a paddle so that it wasn't just a marketing ploy. It wasn't just, yeah, Matt's putting a Splish brand on something, No, it had to have substance behind it. It wasn't just because. We're super proud of this paddle.
Yeah, I appreciate the collaboration. I think it's just amazing to do things like that. And your healing brand, I could create something that can heal and give back. I think that's what it comes down mostly to me, and probably you as well, just trying to help people, but again, when, like we go back to some of these things where like these bigger organizations really try to say, hey, you've got to give us this kind of money to show up. It's like, I don't think so. I'd rather give that money back to, an organization to help folks, or, heal them or help them some way than, just give you money so you can, I don't know. It's tough, right? So, and Kevin's been through this a bunch now too, because, he has this whole ball war with, someone that he was paying a bunch of money to that maybe has compensated and taken his ball, but it's just it's a really weird thing sometimes, so that's why I asked you about, is the value or the investment in these bigger tournaments and things like that, as far as pickleball is concerned, worth it, sometimes.
I mean, I think in the beginning, sure, because, think about the neck of the funnel approach. If you've got, I think they pushed almost 50,000 people at the US Open last year. I mean, I think it was the record group.
Wow.
And on the first day, which was just, athlete check-in, run into friends you hadn't seen since the last Open or last tournament.
Yeah.
And in the vendor tent or sponsors tent where we were with everybody else, the shoe companies, paddle companies, ball companies.
Yeah.
People were lined up 6, 7 deep at our tent. And I'm like,
I know.
Wow. Okay. But that doesn't happen unless people know who you are. Right. So for us to do the US Open, it was really about, developing the brand in a sport that's obviously growing triple logarithmically. Right. But as I said earlier, we're now reassessing other sponsorships that, is there going to be, can I dot a line between the cost of that event and the return on my investment? And if there
Yeah,
isn't,
if you think about the
I
amount of
cannot
money,
do that dotted line, we're not doing it. And truthfully, I can do pickleball tournaments every single day of the week. Some of them, all I got to do is donate some products. Some of them are $100. I think the most expensive tournament that I paid into recently was a $500 one out, that wasn't, US Open, but it's still the people that are going to buy my products. Let's face it, love the pros, got a lot of friends that are pros. They're not buying the products. Okay. Pros,
Wow.
they're using their required paddles based on their sponsor. Truthfully, we don't sponsor athletes, and I don't want to sponsor athletes because people should use our product for one reason and one reason only. It keeps you in your game. It helps you out. And if we can save your stomach lining from popping 8 ibuprofen today, you know what? Guess what? That's not just me winning because I sold you a product. That's you winning because you're going to live longer.
Yeah. What were you gonna say about money, Kevin?
just that I feel like if you had, let's say you had an annual budget of, let's say, $250,000, $250,000, and you think about like how much money it takes. A lot of people don't realize how freaking much money it costs to show at a show.
Mhm.
I mean, just a 10 by 10 booth or a 20 by 10 booth. I mean, the amount of money that these guys charge is highway robbery. And then you got to bring the internet, you got to pay for the carpet, you got to pay for the union people to set it up for you because you can't do it yourself. And then, you got to fly everybody out there. You got to have your products. You got to have a booth that's somewhat attractive. And then you got to have people that man the booth the whole entire day, which sometimes is probably
man.
a 14 to 18 hour day or whatever, right? It's set up to tear down and the whole thing. It's just nuts, right? And so if you think about it, you're like, how many people, like to your point, how many people am I really going to be like, influencing here, right? And so I think the model that, you're describing is sort of like marketing 1.0. And then now that, Meta and all those have come in with Instagram and Facebook, and there's TikTok and stuff like that, you're looking at like that same budget with that kind of scale that they provide, and you're like, wow, I could touch a lot more people. Maybe it won't be as impactful. Maybe I can't try it on or rub it on or use it or whatever, but at least I can get the seed planted, right? And now I think we're kind of going into this what I call marketing 3.0, which is it's completely like no pro sponsorship, no shows, no barely any digital advertising. It's all word of mouth, testimonial, influencer, because those are going to be your best salespeople, in my view. And I think you're onto something there, Matt. I think you're onto something.
Yeah, no, it's, I mean, you start here, right? Then you evolve. And, like I said, if you build it, they will come, works in the movies just fine. In real life, it doesn't work. But now we're a brand that is recognized. People do know, recognize us. And it might be, a tournament down in Myrtle Beach. It might be at Delray. It might be in Phoenix. And these are not high dollar. These are very small dollar. And most of these I don't go to. Yes, the big events, the Nationals, US Open, we do go there. I load up my truck. I'm in Colorado. I load it up and I drive. Why? Because because I take a nice long slow drive home.
Yeah.
Call it vacation. But it's to your point. I remember we did Atlantic City, and that was a fun tournament, and that was their inaugural one. But I had to ship everything to not even to the conference center. I had to ship it to a union shipper, right? And then it cost them more to literally drive it across the street than it did for me to ship it there. And then I
Yeah,
had to
Incredible.
pack it
I
up.
don't think it would have been worth it this year for you, this past year, man.
No. And, and I love that group, Kyle and Jim and, Gary and everybody. But, from a business logic, no, it made no sense to,
Oh.
to be there. It just didn't. So yeah, we are absolutely reassessing where our dollars should be sent. We are leaning more towards, digital marketing versus anything else. Like I said, we do, we were handpicked by the PR firm, the international PR firm that does the luxury beauty boxes for the award shows. I'll admit the first time I got an email from them, I thought, oh my God, somebody wants me to send money to Nigeria. But I ended up getting on the phone with the founder and president of this PR firm, and they put together these luxury beauty boxes, which they hand select products from around the world to give to artists, celebrities. And we are chosen year over year over year to include our products in these boxes.
That's awesome.
And
Great. Congratulations.
I can't honestly say I've got a boon in celebrity purchases. It's like professional athletes. It's like, I got this one for free. But at the same time, I earned the bragging rights. I'm not, I don't have to fabricate something that says that we did something we didn't do. And so, and truthfully, other than the product cost, we were able to negotiate something that worked it was mutually beneficial. And now when I talk to people that want me to sponsor, it's like, if it's not mutually beneficial, it ain't gonna happen. We're working, we don't work just with pickleball. We're working with mixed martial arts. We're working with, long distance runners. We're looking with these crazy
Better, right?
travel riders. We're working with golfers. We're working with rugby players. I mean,
And now you're in the Trump Tower, right?
we're in Trump Tower. Yeah. Our products, we're at Waldorf, we're in Ritz-Carlton, we're, so our demographic is pretty broad. It can be broad, right? I can't sell a pickleball paddle to a golfer unless he's going to play pickleball, but I can help you with the pain in your back from that horrible swing you just demonstrated to us.
Right.
And so, that's why I say, our products are universal. We like pickleball because it is a growing demographic. It's in the news all the time, whether for good news or bad news, and mostly good news. And if you look at the bell curve and go from the top of the bell curve to the right, you're probably age 50 to 80, right? Those people have aches and pains. They probably have the money to purchase a product like ours. to
Yeah.
use, you know? I
Love
mean,
it.
my favorite story,
Yeah.
the US Open, was a woman who was in her early 80s out of Chicago. And I went and met her, you know, and it was hot. It was really hot. And she came off the court, and I happened to have a bottle of Game Day, and I gave it to her. And I said, hey, you know, I'm from Chicago originally. So, you know, there was that connection because her jersey had the Chicago flag. Anyway, I gave it to her, and somebody said, oh, and if you got other aches and pains, she goes, oh, my knees have been killing me. I haven't danced in 30 years. So we cobbled back and had a nice visit back to the tent, and we applied, you know, the same one, that formula number 3 on her knees, and sent her away. The next morning, you know, before competition started, all of a sudden I hear this sing-songy voice, Matt, look at me, look at me. I'm dancing. She
Nice.
came prancing through the tent, you know, dancing, and, you know, showing off almost like her newly, you know,
That's
rebuilt
awesome.
knees. Even, you know, she had no rebuild, but, you know, and she's become a loyal, she's actually become a friend, but also a loyal customer. And of course, you know, to a little bit to your point, Kevin, is like, I don't need to be there because she's already telling all her friends, and their friends are telling their friends. And if
That
you know,
works.
let's face it, when you find something that works, you know, and doesn't harm you. I mean, I haven't taken the Hippocratic oath, but I tell my team all the time, we're not in this business to do any harm, you know, do no harm. And if we can naturally heal people, keep people in the game, help them sleep better at night, feel fresher during the day, warm up before they go out, you know, get rid of those muscle cramps, and do it without injecting them or popping pills or making, you know, becoming addicted. You know, it's, you know, it's like the NFL. They behoove me. I met with somebody who was introduced me there, who was an NFL players advocate. Nice guy. We got along just great, but you know, NFL is so anti-CBD or anything anti-cannabis, even
Oh
though
yeah.
they just launched a study which was actually a move in the right direction. And I happened to say, yeah, I've got NFL players using our products. And he looked at me deadpan serious. They better be retired. You know, and finally I said, okay, I'm going nowhere. So why are organizations like the NFL okay with surgeons prescribing narcotics? You know, and unbeknownst to, you know, Brett Favre, he didn't plan to get injured, and he certainly didn't plan to become a drug addict after his injury. But
Oh,
these are so addicting, you know, that
yeah.
we need to focus on a natural
I
way
mean,
of
the NFL is shake my head. I mean, you see these guys get popped in the game, and they're like, run them to the tent. We're going to do the concussion protocol. Well, my daughter's had 3 playing water polo. Okay. So I understand what goes on with concussions. You don't just run to the tent and then 5 minutes later, you're back out on the field and everything's okay. It
Yeah.
doesn't work that way.
No.
If you have a concussion, a legit concussion, you're out, man, for weeks. You should be out for at least, I think,
Yeah.
2 to 5 weeks.
Yeah,
So,
and even
you
I look
know,
at
them
like,
saying CBD is not a legit thing is just like, oh my God. Okay,
no,
whatever.
and we've got professional products that should be in every trainer's bag. You know, when somebody twists an ankle out on the court or on the field, we've got products that you rub it on right here, right now, and it's going to make a vast improvement. It may not necessarily get you back in the game the same day, but it's not going to keep you out of the game unless, of course, you've seriously torn something or something beyond, you know, what a topical. But as far as reducing pain and inflammation, no,
Yeah.
I've seen people apply our products and back out the very next day.
I use it. I use it all the time. I mean, you know, you sent me enough that I should be able to use it all the time. But you know what I mean? I put the Game Day on, you know, as soon as I get out of the shower on my lower back, you know. And then I'll hit the number 3 if I need more later, you know. So I mean, yeah, I think, you know, sometimes, you know, I guess I could say I'm addicted to Splish, right? Because I'm using it, right? So, but you know, it's and everyone that I give to on the pickleball court when we're playing, I'm like, hey, you got pain anywhere? And you know, I'll put a little bit number 3 on there, and they'll be like, and 20 minutes later, they're like, whoa, you know, I mean, and they really appreciate that kind of thing. So that's always in my pickleball bag. It's easy to carry. Um, you know, it's nice to have that around if you need it versus, like you said, popping the pain pill, not the pain pills, but your ibuprofen or whatever it is, right? And sometimes you have to do those, when you get tattooed behind the knee. But CBD is great, Matt.
Yeah, no, it's great. And it's a good time for a product like ours to, be shared in this sport that's doesn't seem to have any sign of slowing down. So
Yeah. Yeah. So Matt,
Kevin?
hey, I think this has just been really enlightening, and I'm definitely going to want to get some. Do you want to tell our viewers the best way to kind of get it on your website, or how do you recommend it?
So the fastest, easiest way is to go to our website, splishnaturals.com, SPLISH, like Splish Splash, splishnaturals.com. We've got a discount code PB10, pickleball 10. That's a 10% discount on any purchase you make. You can share it with your friends. We ship out. It's free shipping on any purchase over $99. We ship anywhere in the United States, obviously, because it's CBD. I can't send to Canada. I can't send to Tokyo, even though CBD is legal in both areas.
Incredible.
But yeah, and then follow us on Instagram at Splish Naturals. We post a lot of stuff a lot of it's pickleball, a lot of it's rugby, a lot of it's other sports. We just posted yesterday ice climbing. We're involved in the sport of ice climbing.
Cool.
And so,
Wow.
so let's just put it this way. It's easy. If you have aches, pains, and you're looking for a natural, holistic way of healing yourself, we're the company to go to, period. And and your CBD companies focus on one thing, CBD. We're focusing on whole body health, wellness, recovery. And if it takes a combination of the mat in our products, it takes a paddle that's going to help reduce the potential for, tennis elbow, then we all win. And if we're not all winning, then what's the point? And as I tell my staff team all the time, if we're not helping people, we're not changing people's lives for the better, then we're wasting our time.
Awesome.
So true words could never not have been said, Matt. Hey, Matt Walsh, everybody from splishnaturals.com. Check them out. PB10 for the discount code. My man, Gregory Storm, it's always great to see you, and we'll see you guys on the next Topspin podcast.
Sounds great. Kevin, Gregory, great to see you guys. Thanks.
Hey, Matt.